Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sam's Corner. And today we're going to talk about savings and some saving instruments and how to best utilize them. So here we go. The first one, it's not really a saving instrument. It's that loose change, that box, that jar, whatever you use. It's great to use it for savings. Most people do have a jar in the house where they just keep loose change or whatever, and that is savings. I know sometimes we don't think of it that way. We're just like, we got all this change. What do I do with it? You can go to Coinstar at some point if you want to cash it out. But having a jar of change or keeping ones or just fives or whatever else, however you want to do it, is a great way to stack a little cash for a rainy day. When I was growing up, my mother used to do like $1 a day. We would save $1 a day, and then at the end of the month, we would eat out and do something as a family. So you can do it that way too. With this way, of course, you're saving, you're putting cash aside, but it's not earning money as far as interest, and that's okay. Well, with this form of savings, you're still putting a little aside for a rainy day. Maybe you want to buy yourself something, or maybe something comes up and you got a little extra cash that you can pull from right away, no big deal. So it's a good way to just kind of hide money from yourself, and sometimes we need to do that. I mean, some people are really great. They look at their money like, okay, this goes here, this. And then there's some of us who are like, you know what? I really don't need this right away. Let me hide this from myself from the moment. And then if something else comes up you need or you want, then you can utilize it. And that's a great way to do it. The next I want to talk about is savings account. Savings accounts are good for having, for like your, I want to say, I don't know why I just lost it just that quickly, for when you want to save 3 to 6 months worth of income, when you need liquidity right away, when you need cash. Your savings account is the best account for it. Yes, it's supposed to be for the long term, so you're putting money aside. It's a great way to just, when you just need cash and you need to access it right away, then having a savings account and having, I would suggest, your 3 to 6 months worth of income in that. And I know that sounds like a large amount, and people like it's not possible. It feels impossible, and I understand that because it can take time to build up. But your savings account is the best place for it, because let's say, for example, you lose your job, whether you're laid off, whether you're fired, or let's say the organization's like, we're going out of business, this is it, bam, here's your last paycheck, and that's it. And those things can and they do happen. So you really want to make sure that the money that you have is in an account that you can access right away. And that's what your savings account is for. Of course, you don't want to tap into it all the time, and there are penalties for tapping into it within a certain time frame. But your goal is to always be building that account up so that just in case you need it, you can access that money right away. Next, what we're going to talk about is a money market account. Now, money market accounts, you can consider them like a higher interest checking account. These accounts are good for when you have a larger balance, and they pay a higher interest rate than a traditional savings account, but you have to maintain a certain monthly or daily balance, and sometimes that can be $5,000 and upward. These are great if you have enough money coming in, or you know that you'll never go below that threshold. It's a great place for your money, because you always want your money to be earning more for you. You're still going to be able to preserve your capital. You're going to earn a higher interest rate than a savings account, and overall, it's just a great place to put your money if you have a large amount that you know you're not going to touch, and you're never going to really go below their threshold. The next I want to talk about is a certificate of deposit. Now, a certificate of deposit is normally an amount that you set aside with the bank, and banks have their predetermined amount, and the interest rate that a certificate of deposit, or CD for short, yields based on how long you're going to have that CD. CDs normally range from 1 year to 5 years, but sometimes banks do offer longer terms. The longer you hold the CD, the higher the interest rate. CDs are good because they put money aside for a certain amount of time, they mature, and you can always, if you, let's say you have a CD and it matures in 1 year, you don't need it, you can just let it automatically, most will automatically roll over and go for another year. There are penalties involved if you do take the money out before the CD matures. And another thing with CDs that are great is that you can do something that's called CD laddering. And I know a lot of people haven't heard about that. I think, that Chipotle starting to repeat on me a little bit. But with CD laddering, I think it's a great way to utilize that for when your kids are about to go to college. Well, not about to, but let me explain. So most, go through 4 or maybe 5 years. There's no judgment. It took me a lot longer to get my bachelor's degree. So there's definitely no judgment here. But let's say they're going to go for 4 years. And you want to make sure that around August, because most of the time they start school around August, that time, and they have books, they have fees and other stuff. And you just want to make sure that when that time comes, you have enough money. What you can do is do a CD laddering approach. And you can start that even now when they're younger. And you can put like 1,000, 2,000, how much you ever want to do into a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 year. Now what happens is over time, the CDs mature and you just keep having it revolve and revolve and revolve until it's the time that you need it. I like this approach because what you can do is, or you can do it when they're 1 year about to start school the year before, and then do a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 years. So as the CDs mature, they're starting a new semester. You can do it that way as well. It's up to you how you want to do it. The reason I say that is because, of course, they have their fees, things come up, and it's good to know that, all right, because normally what happens is this. When we're planning our money, we always think from our paycheck. And what I'm hoping that a lot of you will understand and realize, we're going to have to do some pre-planning. It's going to be tight at certain points. It's going to be tough. But the more planning we can do, the more everything doesn't have to hit our paycheck. So let's just go with the second one, where your child is 17 and you do a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 year. So as they go and they grow, and as they go through the years, they start school year 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have a CD maturing right before they go off to school. So let's say their fees are going to be, let's say on average, just say $1,000. Let's just keep it simple. So year 1, you have it right there in August. The CD matures. You put in $1,000. It yields interest. Guess what? You have the money for their fee year 1. Then year 2, year 3, and year 4. It's kind of like the set it and forget it approach. And then as the year, as time goes on, that's one less thing you have to worry about. So I think CD laddering is a great way for that. You can use it for other things. The great thing about it is you can kind of just put the money aside. You don't have to worry about it. Or you can even use it for any other reason you can come up with. I just gave that one as an example. But it's a great way if you're putting money aside and you don't need it right away and you want it to gain interest. The only thing with CDs is that they're not liquid like a savings account, so you wouldn't be able to access the cash like right away. But over time, you'll gain more interest than if the money was sitting in a savings account. So each product, like a CD, money market account, savings account, or your tin or jar, I grew up with my grandmother, so I have them old Danish cookies jars, the blue ones. God, I wish I had one. That the old folks they had with the sewing needles and all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna tell you this, the old folks, they always repurposed everything. And as an adult, I totally understand why and get it. But just to recap, those are the basically kind of 4 things that you can do as far as savings. And the reason I want to say that is you always want to have a saving strategy. You always want to be thinking ahead about your money. And the reason that you'll hear many financial planners and others talking about putting money aside and saving for a rainy day is not a doom and gloom. It's just that in life, the older you get, anything can happen, and it does. And so the goal is to always have you prepared. But my intention is for you to understand and to know that you always want to have your money working hard for you. If you need cash right away or you see it from the foreseeable future, then a savings account is your best option. If you don't need it right away, but you still want to preserve the amount of capital that you put in, then a CD may work best for you. You just have to look at where you are in your life and what your needs are, and then plan. You can look at your bank rates. Most of the time we look at our banks, we only think about checking and savings accounts, but we can also research and look for others as well. Always do your research, always understand. And my thing is, I'm gonna tell you this, when it comes to saving, investing, loans, credit cards, there are no stupid questions. You always ask questions until you understand the answer. And that's the most important thing. Because the last thing you want to do is get involved with something that you don't understand. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.